So help me welcome our featured guest. He's an expert on conscious intelligence. In fact, he's the author of the book, Conscious Intelligence. Eric, what's a strategy that you can give all the entrepreneurs listening today that will help them become more profitable in their business?
I would say every day, try to learn and grow and deepen your expertise in what you're doing, whether it's researching the sector that you're in, whether it's understanding the challenges that the sector has. Try to disrupt that. If this doesn't work, think outside the box or eliminate the box altogether. I'm always trying to learn, grow, research, deepen my expertise so that I can definitely stand outside the crowd when being a resource for somebody. It's not just about something that I do, but I want people to think that they can actually come to me as a resource and someone like, he knows a lot, what would Eric say about this? If they're asking themselves that question, and a lot of people do because they tell me, I love that. And then be authentically available to answer those questions. I have given away a lot of free time, and much to my chagrin, I'm not billing per hour and things like that, but I do give time, and I think that people who truly appreciate that value that, and it deepens my relationships, and that's why I have long-term relationships with my clients.
So help me welcome our featured guest. He's an expert on conscious intelligence. Eric, what's the mindset that you use to discover your best business opportunities?
To be of service, to find out what somebody needs rather than push my needs onto somebody else. Listen, of course, and automatically try to be the resource for another person. What can I give? What can I contribute? I know that if I'm contributing and adding value to somebody's life, to somebody's business, that not only is that going to be significantly appreciated, but I'm probably somebody that they want to develop a deeper relationship with. And as such, it's the same when I'm approached by people and their services and products as well. So, golden rule there, but always looking and listening and asking and probing for how I could best be of service. Think of some resource, somebody I can connect them to, some idea that I can provide to them if my service isn't completely everything that they need, or in addition to. Always be a strong resource.
I agree with you, and I think that there's an attitude or mindset about even doing that makes it work, and then there's one that doesn't make it work. And I had that experience where if you're on LinkedIn, I know that you have this experience on a regular basis. Somebody wrote to me who had just connected, and I seldom take time. I usually just disconnect when people do this, right? I go, okay, we're not going to build a relationship. So yes, they have connections, but let's not even bother, right? And they said, glad to meet you. And then it was this long, what they wanted to sell me. And I actually wrote back and I said, this is what you wrote. You were glad to meet me. Now I want to sell you something. And I said, would you actually walk up to somebody in person and have that kind of a conversation? Because it didn't work for me, right? I thought, just give them honest feedback. So I think that when we go to be of service, I've been in some trainings that turned me off where people would go, well, here's the formula. Give, ask. But without any real intention to the give, right? I think it has to do with sincerity and integrity of the service that you provide. And if you're sitting there in the back of your mind going, and now I can ask for something, I think you're in the wrong place completely. I don't think it works. I think you have to come from a genuine place of, a word that I'm using more and more in business, love. That you've got to give love to this person. And if you're coming from that place, whatever you get back from them is fine. Get back from others is fine. But I find that you build more goodwill and intention by just coming from a love place with them.
Yeah, and I would add, you're talking about the distinction between coming from abundance versus scarcity. When people are coming from scarcity, they're really kind of going, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? You're talking, the LinkedIn proposal and networking when somebody's like, hey, how you doing? And they shove their business card in your hand and say, please call me. I have these services. I can do this, this, and this. And, what can you do for me? It's really a put off. And there's two things, though. You can't just fake being generous or fake being really interested in somebody, but understand in your deepest, part of your essential self, that genuinely caring and genuinely contributing, it will come back to you, because it's not really a give take. It's not, I have this piece of the pie and I want that piece of the pie. There's no pie. There's just infinite abundance, and there's plenty for everybody. So contributing and being that resource for someone is always going to come back. It's always going to come back.